Hello guys, happy, what is it, Wednesday? I don't even know what day it is, right? I wanted to come on here real quick and just kind of talk to you about boundaries. I know boundaries is kind of a big buzzword right now, and a lot of people have a lot of questions about it and like concerns about it. And this has been coming up for me in session pretty much all morning, so I know when it's been coming up a lot, I just feel the need to come on and do a little video for you guys and just talk a little bit about it. Oh, and my name is Addie Whelan. I'm the owner of Everyday Bravery Counseling and a licensed clinical social worker in Texas. So today I'm just going to quickly talk to you a short video about why boundaries aren't selfish. I think that's like the number one thing that I hear a lot when I talk to my clients about the importance of setting boundaries. And they talk about like, well, I feel bad for saying no. You know, I'm always kind of the one that people come to a lot, and they lean on me, and you know, I need to be there for them. If I'm not there, nobody will. Or I just feel bad, you know, saying no to people, kind of all of that stuff, right? Totally get it. And that can all be very, very valid. I think especially in families, specifically where I live, it's a predominantly Hispanic community, and I think especially in the Hispanic community, and I can say this for myself because I am part of the Hispanic community, boundaries are not a word that we hear. You know, I never heard boundaries before I probably went to grad school, and maybe I don't even know if I heard about it in grad school. Honestly, I was introduced to boundaries by Brene Brown, which I'll talk a little bit about in a minute. But it's just not a word that we hear a lot in a lot of our families, specifically Hispanic families. I'm sure in other families of color probably too, because those families really stress upon like family first, right? You take care of others before you take care of yourself. You kind of are last, that whole thing. We kind of always just are giving to others, which is great, right? We want to be caring and supportive individuals, but then when it comes to learning about boundaries, it can feel really counterintuitive because we feel like we might be going against our family or against our culture, which is a lot of pressure. So the reason that boundaries are not selfish is this: when you're constantly giving to others, saying yes when you really want to say no, feeling burnt out, feeling like you cannot really do, you're trying to be a good mom and a good daughter and a good partner and all of this stuff, and maybe that you just can't do it all because we're human, right? When we're constantly overextending ourselves by not setting those healthy boundaries and saying no when we don't want to do something, or when it's too much, or whatever the case may be, really, just for our own personal reasons, usually what happens when you're doing all of these things, how do you end up feeling? More than likely, you end up feeling pretty resentful, pretty annoyed, pretty irritated. You might snap at people and say things to people that you know, somebody might ask you something benign and you might like snap at them for no reason, and you realize it's probably not about them, but it's probably about something else because you're so tired, you're so exhausted because you've been giving to all these people all the time. Brene Brown talks about boundaries a lot. I highly recommend any of her books. She's a huge proponent of boundaries. She has TED Talks, and I'll try to link them down below, and a Netflix special. So if you haven't heard of her and you follow my channel, you probably will, because I love her, been training her work, all that good stuff. But one of my favorite quotes that she says about boundaries is this: the most compassionate people have the best boundaries. And the reason that is, you would think it would kind of be the opposite, right? Like the people with the best boundaries would kind of not be so compassionate, maybe, is what you're thinking. But no, they are actually the most compassionate people. And she's done research on this. So studies have actually shown this. She does a lot of research. All of her stuff is based on research. And the reason that they can be so compassionate is because they have really, really good boundaries. So when you are able to say no to things that you don't want to do, or that overextend yourself for any reason, just because it doesn't work out for you, you're then able to say yes to other things that you actually want to do, and that you're not doing it out of obligation or fear or any other reason other than, than a genuine reason of you wanting to do it, and something that you feel like you can do and you can offer, and all of that stuff. And that's where compassion comes in, right? So the most compassionate people actually have the best boundaries, because they're able to stay in compassion and be the best, I don't want to say the best, but a helpful mom, a helpful sister, out of all that stuff, because they stay out of resentment by sticking to their boundaries. So that is so, so important. So boundaries are in fact not selfish. In fact, you're going to be more helpful to others around you the better boundaries that you have. The thing that I like to think about when it comes to boundaries is that whole airplane metaphor. So for those of you who fly in an airplane, or those of you that haven't, you go, and as the flight attendant's kind of saying what they do about an airplane, they say, if there is going to be a drop in cabin pressure, the masks will fall from the sky, fall from the ceiling. If you're traveling with young children, make sure you put on your mask first before you put on their mask, right? Why do they do that? Why do they tell us to do that? Well, because if you don't put on your mask first, you're going to be passed out, and the kid's going to be they're going to be passed out too, right? You're both going to be passed out, and you're not going to be helping anybody as you're passed out. So we're walking around overextending ourselves, not setting those healthy boundaries, because of the various reasons, or what we've been taught, or kind of all of that stuff, kind of hobbling, half, overwhelmed, resentful, not really our best selves, because how can we be our best selves when we're overextending ourselves to all of these things? When in fact, if we put our own oxygen mask on first, set those healthy boundaries, right? Then we would be able to be the best version of ourselves, to our partner, to our kids if we have them, to our friends, to our family, etc. So it actually in turn is not just helping you, but also helping them as well, because people don't want to be around people that are very resentful and snapping at them and kind of yelling at them for no reason. That's not really any fun either. So boundaries are not selfish. They're actually very, very important, and it's really important that you put your own oxygen mask on first, aka set those healthy boundaries before, instead of just overextending yourself and just saying yes even though you really, really want to say no. So I just want to do this short video just focusing. I could go on and talk about boundaries forever, but really just focusing on what I hear a lot, that boundaries are selfish, or they just feel bad because they're not helping other people, or they're too focused on themselves, or yada yada yada. It's counterintuitive to what they've been taught, or what they've heard in their family or seen in their family. So just kind of want to break that down a little bit more. I'm going to probably make another video that just talks more about how to set boundaries and what that looks like. And I probably should have started with this, but basically a boundary is as just knowing what is okay and not okay with you, and asking for what you need, and saying no when it maybe means saying yes to yourself. Probably should have led with that with boundaries if you haven't been familiar with boundaries, but I can go more into probably what boundaries are too in a later video. This one is mostly just focused on they're not selfish. I know that you think that they are, but I'm telling you that they're not. And remember, the most compassionate people have the best boundaries. I'm going to link some more resources down below on how to, if you're really interested in boundaries, you can follow my Instagram. But there's also a lot of other therapists that are really focused about boundaries specifically, and I'll link those down below so you can learn more. Okay, please subscribe if you want to follow more of my videos. Have a great day. Bye.